Now, after moving from the UK to Australia, one thing I noticed very quickly is the Aussies are raised very differently to Brits. And there is certain things about life in Australia where this is very clear. Before we get into today's video, make sure you give it a like and subscribe to the channel as well. And yeah, let's get into it. Now, the first thing that really told me how differently Aussies are raised to Brits is how much less vandalism and antisocial behaviour there is. I couldn't believe this moving to Australia, and there's certain examples of this where it is so clear. First of all, Australian cities are kept unbelievably clean. Like, honestly, they're some of the best kept cities I've seen anywhere. The parks are so clean, no one leaves any rubbish. In the UK, I feel like teenagers and just people in general are way more likely to just dash a load of rubbish on the ground. In Australia, that's very rare. I know it's pretty much illegal in both places, but in the UK, people still do it. In Australia, people don't want to do that to their country. As well as this, just like vandalism, you don't see much of it here in Australia. In the UK, it's very common to walk down the street and see like a smashed up bus stop. Or if you're at the park, like the amount of kids that used to set fire to just random shit at my local park, like the benches, the bins would always be set on fire, just stupid stuff because kids don't care and there's not as much respect. I always use the outdoor barbecues in Australia as an example. They are kept so clean, like immaculate, and they are everywhere, and people use them for cooking, and when they're done, they clean them off and then they're fine to use for the next person. If they put these in a UK park, oh my god, they wouldn't even last like a week. Kids would be putting stuff from the bins on them, setting shit on fire. Do you know what I mean? Most people wouldn't have the decency to clean them. I think there is certain places in the UK where they would work. Smaller communities where people do actually look out for one another. In the main cities, there's no chance. And just vandalism in general, antisocial behaviour, it is just so much more common. And in Australia, you can tell that they're raised from young to really respect the place that they live and look after it for themselves and for other people, because it's rare to see vandalism and antisocial behaviour even in the main cities. The next way I think you can tell how differently Aussies are raised is how much they love their country. In the UK, I feel like it's more common to hate the country. Do you know what I mean? You're brought up to think, oh, the UK, think of all the negatives. Like, I saw this video from a UK classroom. I'll see if I can find it and put it up, but the teacher was saying, oh, hands up if you hate the UK. Every kid in the class put their hand up. Like, what is that message we're sending to people in the UK? We should raise people to love the country. And because we don't do that, you can see the disrespect people have for it. In Australia, it's very clear that they raise people to respect and love where they live, because one, if you criticise Australia as a traveller in any way, Aussies will very, very quickly jump to the defence of the country. They will defend it with everything they've got because they clearly love it. The amount of times in my comments, in person, I hear Aussies bragging about the fact that Australia is the best country in the world. How often now do you hear people say the UK is the best country in the world? You don't hear it at all. Aussies clearly from a young age are brought up to love their country, and it is so good to see. I wish we had a lot more of this in the UK, but it's almost trendy to hate on the UK. Now, I know in my content it might seem like I hate on the UK a lot. I don't. I just share the realities of what the culture is like there, and personally, I don't agree with how negative we are towards our country. Australia, they clearly from a young age are brought up to love it. Point number 3 is, I don't think Aussies are particularly jealous people. It's clearly again to do with the way they're raised, because in the UK there is such a hate culture. Anyone that does well for themselves gets hated on. If anyone's doing better than you, the culture in the UK is to bring them down. It's rare you see someone who's doing very well for themselves in the UK that isn't receiving some sort of hate. Even if they're doing something good, it's just not something you see. In Australia, people are a lot more focused on themselves, living their own lives. They aren't trying to impress anyone. For me, they're way more supportive of your goals and your ambitions. I've spoken about this before. They don't like it if you shove it in their face in Australia, but I definitely don't think it's a jealousy thing either. I've got to say, the UK, we have one of the most jealous cultures I've ever seen. Like, it's I don't understand it personally because I'm not like that, but it's just the culture. Also, I feel like in the UK, a lot of people just stay in their hometown, stay in one job, and are almost encouraged to do that. And it's seen as a bit risky and a bit like, oh, what are you doing if you want to leave your hometown and go and do something bigger? But in Australia, I've mentioned how well-travelled Aussies are. They've literally been everywhere. And I almost feel like there is a permission to enjoy life in Australia, whereas in the UK, it's almost a bit like, you know, don't enjoy life too much. From my experience, Aussies are a lot more ambitious. They want to go and live in other cities. They want to travel to other places. From my experience, I don't meet that many Aussies that just want to stay in their town they grew up in. They want to go on to better things, try new cities, try living in new places. Of course, there's people in the UK that do that, like me, but I would say there's a higher percentage of people that just play it safe and stay in their hometown, because I think that is the difference between how we're raised. In the UK, it's very play it safe culture. In Australia, it's go and explore and see what there is to see in the world. And the last point is the whole slang and youth culture. In the UK, we have some weird cultures with younger people trying to be roadmen. Chav culture and roadman culture is really big. And it's basically like every kid in the UK thinks they're a little gangster. Do you know what I mean? It's one, it's pretty cringe, and two, it's not like a nice culture, because that whole culture is associated with violence and not being the nicest people. Do you know what I mean? I don't see that much in Australia. I know you get like little essays and stuff about in Australia, but it's nowhere near as big of a culture. I feel like I look at young Australians and you can see they're just nice, respectful people, and they're not trying to be anyone they're not. We have some weird cultures in the UK, which, yeah, I personally find a bit weird. So these are some ways which I think it is very clear how differently Aussies are raised to Brits. And personally, I love how positive it is in Australia. And for me, whilst it's not perfect here, they're definitely doing something right with raising young people. A lot more so than the UK. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I will see you in the next video.